Hey, it's Carl with a K. Let's talk about Hollywood. Welcome to the show. Hi everybody, this is Carl Gibson, and welcome to episode 40 of Let's Talk About Hollywood. How are you? I hope that your week is going well. I want to thank everyone who's listened and downloaded to the last episode that came out, which was episode 39. And so thank you to the United States, Germany, Spain, and France. And of course, thank you to the other 30 countries that have listened and downloaded. This podcast has an audience of thousands right now. And I'm always appreciative. And I just want to thank you again. It's incredible. And I'm so glad to be here with you. So we're going back to the 2002 journals. I'm at the Hollywood Reporter. I'm an editorial assistant. My supervisor is leaving on her own. Of course, it's her choice. And it's been very hard at this time to find a replacement for her. I've turned down the job. My co-editorial assistant has turned down the job, as have others. And so there's a lot going on. There's not really any succession plan at this point. The Emmys are a week away at this time in 2002, and we'll see what's going to happen. And it happens in this episode. And this is episode 40, Assistant to the Editor. September 13th, 2002, Friday. My co-assistant and I were both saying how fried we are today in the newsroom. There's been this countdown to our supervisor's last day, which is today, and the uncertainty has exhausted us both. I checked my direct deposit, so there was nothing there to make me happy, except for the 12 hours of overtime that the Hollywood Reporter owes me, but I didn't really expect magic. When I got into the newsroom this morning, my boss said to me, "As of Monday, I want you to slide on down to your vacant supervisor's desk until we get this all figured out." He said it neutrally enough, but it was still a direct order. I told him that I can sit there and work at the desk until the lunch shifts start, and then I need to be at my own desk until 7 p.m. He was fine with that. Then word came down from Human Resources that the replacement for my supervisor, who was going to get the role, turned it down this morning, and the other two alternates, they turned it down as well. This is not good. My supervisor, in a solid last day move, ended up making my boss and HR hire an executive level temp until a replacement could be found. Mind you, that executive level temp has not been found and has not started. I was told by someone in the loop, quote, "Carl, be glad, otherwise he'll keep you there forever," unquote. My only hope is that me and my co-assistant can get the new assistant up to speed, that they learn fast, and that they go from temp to perm fast. Otherwise, it seems that the higher-ups in the publishing company haven't even thought about two assistants covering over 60 people alone. Total denial is rampant. I don't feel too happy about it right now. I feel like this is going to be a hard fall season, and I'm tired of hard seasons. September 16th, 2002, Monday. The reporters were complaining about it being a slow news day, but me and my co-assistant didn't have that luxury. My boss was out. I had to take an impromptu Emmy meeting. The Emmys are in 6 days, and my boss told the techs that I'm the point man. I got told that I needed to make sure that the tech teams had media credentials for the production room and the messenger rooms where we can send our film packages to be uploaded for the issue the next morning. There were bills to code, expenses to do. My supervisor's power has reverted to us, so as editorial assistants, all of the troubleshooting is gravitating to us. My day is based on doing what I can, what needs to be done, and reeling in the nets to see what's newsworthy. We'll stick together, but some of the denial and classism is showing. Until then, we do our thing. The only bright spot is that we completely schedule ourselves now, and no one is managing us at all. No pay increases, but it's nice to be able to work 100% independently. September 17th, 2002, Tuesday. The second day without a replacement for my supervisor. After getting all of our work sent to the New York Bureau, a scream came out in the newsroom. "My phone!" Next, I had to trace backlogs and an overdue payment from January 2001, 7 months before I even started working here, and I was tracking down the trail when I heard another scream. "Who is handling my phones?" I picked up the phone call and saw that the editors were just talking. It was breaking news, and I sent it to one of the main editors. I went into the editor's office where the scream came from, and I said, "That phone call was a misdial, and I'm trying to handle a backdated bill from 20 months ago." That's all I said, and I didn't move, and one of the editors who'd screamed stopped talking, and we stared at each other as the other editors looked at me like I had lost my mind. The editor who'd screamed said quietly, "All right." But the damage was done. I could see the thought balloons over everybody's heads, something to the effect of Carl's black sass. I mean, everything was going smoothly, and they're still screaming, and it's definitely the shape of things to come. It's only going to get worse. Much worse. With everything coming down the pike, without my former supervisor to help, all that my co-assistant and I can do is try to handle every problem or request and try to find some answer, even if it's, I don't know. I spent 3 extra hours today trying to quell crises, and I still can't finish my own work. It's really bad. I fantasized about quitting at least 4 times today. Even other departments have noticed and said that the outbursts and hollering in the newsroom, mostly at me and my co-assistant, is, quote, so rude. My work partner has a headache, and my energy is zapped today. I think I'll have to temper my personality here and maybe just speak to my editorial partner and keep everyone else at a remove, because each act of rudeness, selfishness, or dumbfoundedness is going to push me over the edge. It's an unfair situation and expectation. Job loading and do more with less, as my mom would say, and there's not much else I can do. One day at a time. I'll have to devise a plan for myself to counter all of the bullshit here in the newsroom. I'll do it at home tonight. I want to handle this well, but my patience is eroding. One of the department editors who makes some of his people cry when he's on a tear told a joke at my expense today. It was in response to me chiding him for giving my co-assistant a project when she was already swamped on her own editor's project, and he knows we have no help on the horizon. He bellowed, "Carl, you better be careful before you end up on the unemployment line." I told him point blank, "You know what? I don't think so, since I have never been on unemployment in my adult life. There are plenty of legal ways to make $1 in this world, okay?" He said something in reply that he was just kidding, and one of the beat editors who'd witnessed it said to him snidely, "Yeah, Carl can sell crack." The jokester is not my boss, and he knew he was just dumping work on my co-editorial assistant at this point. His jokes are flatter than 3-day-old soda left on a hot porch, and he's an instigator. Meanwhile, our corporate travel office is closed down, so the alternative plan email that we all got was just deleted by everyone who now needs help scheduling flights all over the world. An editor from an entirely different department walked up to me today and said, "I need my billing codes." I told him, "I don't know your billing codes. Call accounting. I don't know your cost center." That so many people here get paid so much to know so little, while I get paid so very little to know so much, is a concept I can't quite wrap my head around. I know that if this isn't resolved soon, this workload and chaos, then I may have to quit after January. I've been through all this shit before, and I'm not feeling it. I'd rather interview on my lunch hours if that's what it comes to. So, work is just sucking. One of the biggest box office draws in the world had his publicist call in, and she has the most loud, shrill voice. We'll call her Jane Levinson. I said, "Are you on your cell?" She replied, "No, I'm in my office." I said, "Oh, I could barely hear you." This was a sarcastic lie that she caught a few seconds later, and I live for those moments. In real life, we do not holler into phones at 6:30 p.m. My co-assistant and I are cool. She is more of a quiet person, and she has the longer fuse. We work together well and complement each other. September 18th, 2002, Wednesday. Here's a Walt Whitman quote I read and really liked. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go and do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Unquote. The editor-in-chief and I met around 2:45 this afternoon. I had a few questions, and he gave me some answers. It all started this morning. I'll backtrack. I got into the newsroom this morning, and my boss called me into his office and asked me to close the door. He asked me to reconsider taking the position of assistant to the editor. He said, "If it's the accounting and the budgeting part that's giving you second thoughts, I know how to do the budget. I did budgets before, and I can help you with that. They only take up less than 2 months, and your former supervisor already did this year's budget. I can help you." I sat and listened to him. He stressed that, quote, "I'm not rushing you. Just think about it. All of the applicants I'm getting have publishing or journalism experience, and they think this position is a springboard to becoming reporters here, and that's just not going to happen. You've been shortlisted, Carl, as the successor. That's why when I offered you the position the other day and you said, no, I don't want it, it was just killing me." I just sat and listened and didn't mention the Hollywood bluff, where we were all supposed to be competing for this job that has been turned down no less than 5 times now. I listened and nodded, and he told me the new salary. I'd finally be making more than my age. And he was very calm and quietly said, "I really wish you would reconsider. Just reconsider. No rush, and let me know. I told you in the beginning I would like my own team, and I think you're the most competent I've ever seen." After this morning meeting, I called my sister, my mom, and Stone. I needed feedback. Mom was excited and stressed that if I wasn't going to get a performance raise and just a new salary raise, to get as close to his numbers as possible. My sister was encouraging as always. I've kept her in the loop daily on everything. And Stone was thrilled. "I told you, you're being recognized for being smart," he exclaimed. Another manager told me to take the sure money since the old guard in New York is looking to be tight-fisted with raises coming this January. I thought about it. It couldn't escape me that I was being offered more than 1/3 of my entire current salary in less than a year of being officially part of the Hollywood Reporter if I were to take the job. That number flashed in my mind like Vegas lights and casino bleeps. I thought of the car I've been budgeting for and that Stone and I can surely get right now. Also, I'm already doing the job as it is. I could envision the company taking their sweet time interviewing or hiring unless I stopped the charade. I also thought, if I didn't accept the job, what if I did all this work just to get a bad raise come January anyway? At worst, if I don't like the job, I could always resign in a year and have a starting salary in the town that isn't an assistant rate. I have only been here 11 months. Before I went to lunch, I asked for a meeting with my boss on the subject, with a reporter's notebook full of questions to base my answer on after the talk we just had. I asked him if I could take an intermediate Excel class to become fluent with all of the accounting spreadsheets. Would that be a problem? The budget, like any Hollywood enterprise, is in the millions. I asked him if there's a raise in January as well, or if the new salary is all inclusive. I was told that's up to New York corporate. Fair enough. I asked him to please get the new salary as high as he could. I also asked that my co-assistant be assured of being the calendar editor, since she is terrific in the role. She was already doing it, and she has taken on the full responsibility of it. I can do the Oscar screening guide, and births and wedding announcements can go to my replacement. My assistant can have the calendar page to herself with a byline. He agreed. I also asked to keep my 52 extension phone console and take it with me. I told him that that's how I've learned my job, taking the news calls, and I want the playing field to be more level between the editorial assistants to come so that we have all the same access to breaking news. While I'd have authority, I'm not their boss, per se, and I'm not that grand. I want to help. If phone coverage keeps us ahead of the curve in breaking news, I'm going to be my boss's right-hand guy. Then I need to be on the phones too, and getting the tips that we get. I'd already checked with facilities, and all of these phone setups and installations can be done seamlessly. He agreed. Lastly, I told my boss, "What I don't know, I need you to help me." I said it as evenly as I could, but I needed his assurance that the pressure won't be so awful when I have to learn new things. He said, "You're good at math. We can get together and we can go over the numbers and figure it out together. I just need to rely on you." I told him that my co-assistant is, quote, crucial, and she is due for a raise, and we can all vouch for her. We talked a little more, and I accepted the job. He said, "This is the best news I've heard all day." I don't know exactly when my new role starts, but I assume it will go quickly since the new hire would have started on September 30th. The managing editor, Peter Pryor, congratulated me today and said he thought I was, quote, a great hire. I know it won't be a bed of roses and that it will have its days, but I think with a better salary and the official proximity to my boss, it will help quell some of the chaos in editorial. I can do this. I will command respect. It's still sinking in that all of this happened so fast. It just seemed the smartest thing to do. There's a lot to learn, but I'm up to it. My editor will be even better with me in the job. It's great to have this all over with. Stone is really happy for me and told me, "I just want to run around the office and yell." Stone is really proud of me because he knows all the shit I've had to go through and balance this past year, and he has seen me on bad and good days. He feels so greatly happy for me. Wow, all the happiness. My boss said that he talked to HR, and because my raise as a salary is so dramatic, that the publisher, Robert Dowling, known as Bob, has to approve that. My boss said that he saw no reason that I should be penalized salary-wise since I'm already making a lower rate. He said we should know more tomorrow and that it's still a deal and the salary, at worst, will still be at least a third higher than what I make now. I knew that part about the salary. I'm still ahead and I'm my boss's choice and he was Bob's choice in his new role. I won't lose a wink of sleep over it. I got more than I thought I would. I shook my boss's hand on his ability to fight for what I'm worth. He said, "There's no turning back, Carl." I say it's in God's hands. Okay, that's the end of that journal entry. And here's the recap. Looking back at this, I could not help but thinking of how, what's the word I'm looking for? Direct this all was. I think that's it, for sure. Again, this is 2002, so I've been in the industry for 24 years since then, and rarely do you have talks that are just that plain spoken, because I had turned this job down so many times, and talking to my supervisor about it, well, not supervisor, my editor in chief about it, and saying, hey, will you help me with what I don't know? Of course, getting the numbers right, that had to come first. And then looking out for my co-editorial assistant, who had been there longer than I had. I had worked in her place over the summer the year before. We instantly got along. We had the same mission. We would work together well for years. I still consider her a friend to this day. I just thought, well, if someone's going to get this job and neither of us had wanted it, better that it be me, because I could look out for us both. And we were always looking out for the newsroom. So it was something where everybody wins. At the same time, I just thought also, if I don't take this job and we've done all this work and we get this boss from hell, then we're screwed. So in taking the job, I was able to avoid a lot of that. And I would end up having this job for a while until I got promoted later. So there would be another promotion to come in the years to come. But looking back on this, I just thought, wow, I just appreciated being able to be that plain spoken about it and it not be a lot of games, because that usually doesn't happen. And there were issues with this, as you'll hear. I mean, nothing really went seamlessly. You really still have to fight for so many things, salary wise. You know, I won't get ahead of myself. It's not a disaster, but just little things that I will, in the recap, I will tell you all how to avoid in your own situations. I'll tell you that in the recaps to come, as they come up, and they will. And my editor, the boss, my editor-in-chief, I haven't talked to him in years. But at this time, I do always remember that meeting we had, that series of meetings that we had, very fondly, just because, to really be honest, I wasn't a warm and fuzzy person with management. I wasn't harsh by any means. Like I mentioned Peter Pryor, who is a legend, I thought was and is so cool. Really. He had just a whole vibe about him, and he's a poet. He's knows how this business works. He comes from publishing royalty. He was incredible to work with, and I really felt that he understood me. A lot of them understood me, you know, because again, I had come from the acting world. And so the reason that I tried so hard with the Hollywood Reporter is, number one, I just try hard at everything that I do. I mean, as we all do, right? Like I didn't go there to fail, but also because I had started as a temp and gotten myself there, hired officially, and I was just learning. I went to school for journalism, but I ended up becoming an actor instead. So learning journalism at a trade paper that came out every day. Like I said, the Hollywood Reporter, well, I've said before, I didn't say it this episode, but the Hollywood Reporter didn't become a weekly or bi-weekly. I'm sorry, I don't know the schedule. I'm still a subscriber, but that didn't happen until 2010. Up until then, that was a 35 to 40 page paper in magazine form every single day, along with special episodes, Freudian slip from the studios, sorry. Special issues, international editions. I mean, I know that I've helped all of us, just in the time that I was there, over 14,000 hard paper issues that you could hold in your hand. And, you know, which is incredible. So there's lots that I have to say as my career advances and goes on in the newsroom. There's lots of things that I could say about journalism I'll keep that to myself. I'll keep that to myself right now. Again, I don't want to get too ahead of myself because there's so many different topics that can be discussed when it comes to journalism today. And it's not even that, journalism is fundamentally different at its core. I can honestly say with the Hollywood Reporter, it was very hard. You had two things going on. You had the economics and the pressure of the newspaper industry. So you had that going on, just regular news. And we didn't just do Hollywood. We had international bureaus. We had a Washington, D.C. bureau. Like I said, we all worked through multiple presidential administrations. There was tech, there was movies, TV, all kinds of regulatory and legal things that we were reporting on. And at the same time, you also had the economics of Hollywood, because this was the Hollywood Reporter. It's iconic. You've seen it over and over and over and over again. So it was an institution in the town. And so you were dealing with all of these people who were already established, who want to get established, who were established, who want to come back. So you just had a lot going on, and it was fascinating, and I threw myself into it 100%. I have not worked in journalism as a working journalist now for probably a little over 10 years, and I don't miss it. After journalism, that was the first time I was out of work for almost 2 years. And that was being successful. And I remember just thinking, well, shit, I could have stayed and been an actor. It's not that journalism is the sure thing. I can tell you that right now. It needs to be a passion. It needs to be something that you care about. Editorial standards and discretion absolutely matter. And again, these things will come up later. And these are my points of view, of course, because there's a big difference between the level of journalism I was working in at a magazine that was making $80 million, $90 million at its peak versus smaller markets. And there are people who, independent journalists, or there's beat reporters who break news and cover crimes and health and every topic under the sun and work their asses off. So I'm always on the side of writers. I'm always on the side of journalists who have a passion for their craft and elevate it every day. So I'm never going to knock the journalism industry because it's something that I worked in, and I don't know how you work in journalism and don't give so much of yourself all the time. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of layers. It's a lot of bureaucracy. It's a lot. And I carried the banner for it just in my own way as long as I could. At the same time, it was not always, I think, an equitable institution overall. As you can see from this episode, I got my job by talking directly to my boss. He thought I was a fit for it. He thought I was one of the best he'd ever seen, which meant a lot to me because he'd seen a lot. He didn't start in Hollywood. He started in, I believe, the crime beat in a major city. He was no joke. The Hollywood Reporter is where I learned empirically and saw it firsthand. There are so many layers of power and influence and money, and everyone gets to that peak at some point. And like I said, I haven't hit it yet because I'm not done. I've got at least 20 years left in the workforce. But I'll say this, it's a ride, and sometimes it lasts a long time. Sometimes it's very short, but it's very individual. So when your ride comes, you want to be prepared. You want to have these years of integrity and being able to do what you're there to do. And so that's always been something that drives me to this day. You know, I'm not a screamer. I'm not going to hurt people. I care. And you just take that passion and you use it for good if you're smart. And there are people that don't. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. And it can be tragic. So keep your integrity. Stay who you are. Keep those passions that make you so good at what you do. And when your moment comes, you'll be ready for that ride because it takes off fast. I mean, I was just an assistant at this time, and I don't mean just an assistant, but I do mean as an assistant, it was still like being at warp speed. So you can only imagine other roles and what that took. And we were all in it together. And a lot of people at the Hollywood Reporter, my age, we grew up together, and we all didn't stay together, but it has been fascinating to look back on, and you'll hear much more to come. So that will do it for this week, unless there's a bonus episode at the end of the week. And if there is, you'll hear it because this podcast is always free. It does run on donations strictly. So if you'd like to donate, you can donate at my website, www.letstalkabouthollywood.com/support. Or you can look in this week's show notes or any episode show notes and click the links there to donate. No amount is too small. I will thank you on the air here if you do. And if you don't want to be thanked, I won't. But I'd appreciate it if you can. And if you can't, come back anyway and share. And I'm grateful for your listening. If you have any feedback, you can always reach out to me at studioexeccarl@gmail.com. That's studioexeckarl@gmail.com. Okay? Have a safe and great rest of your week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for being a part of this community. I sure appreciate you. And as always, don't forget, love is real. And I wish you all great things. I'll see you next time.